It's a pretty common trope for a video on Silent Hill 2 to open with Mary's letter, with that powerful magnetic line to her grieving husband.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you.
Does anyone else find it kind of funny listening to that at the start of a remake of the game after Konami spent so long refusing to make another Silent Hill? No? Just me? Oh well. The original Silent Hill 2 was released in 2001 on the PlayStation 2 and was a critical and commercial hit. In a time without a competing Resident Evil game, Silent Hill 2 became an instant classic and has gone on to become a yardstick of the survival horror genre. It's a standard many developers try to reach, but few manage to get there. It's one of those games that I would consider as an important game, both in its cultural impact and how it influenced the horror genre going forward. Without Silent Hill 2, we wouldn't have games like Amnesia, Alan Wake, Fear and Hunger, or Alien Isolation. The first Silent Hill game was a slightly uneven experience that made a huge impact when it released in 1998. The world had fallen in love with the first two Resident Evil games, and there was a huge appetite for new survival horror experiences. Where Capcom's flagship franchise offered scares in tight, claustrophobic haunted houses, Silent Hill gave players an entire town to explore. The series' signature fog was born from a technical limitation on the original PlayStation, the terrible draw distance. Using the fog allowed Team Silent to hide the assets in the town popping into view as Harry Mason walked the dead streets, accidentally creating one of the series' most iconic features. Alongside the stuttering, interference-filled radio warning the player of approaching threats and the stark, rusted otherworld, Silent Hill laid a strong blueprint for the series to build on. Silent Hill 2 took everything that the first game had laid down and ran with it. The town is bigger, the enemies more disturbing, the fog is thicker and the scope increased. The power of the PlayStation 2 allowed for more immersive storytelling, more detailed graphics and, well, just more game. Most people who grew up with Silent Hill 2 universally agree that it's pretty much a perfect game. In fact, many believe it's the pinnacle of the series, with the third and fourth games in the franchise falling slightly short of it, and the fifth and sixth games, Homecoming and Downpour, not even worth talking about. The franchise has been on hiatus since the dreadful reception of those last two games. In fact, when Konami announced they were leaving regular video game development to focus on Pro Evolution Soccer and their pachinko machine business, many believed that the franchise was dead for good. The exception of maybe that Silent Hill pachinko machine. Hit the lever! Team Silent, the misfit group of developers who were responsible for the first four games, had long been disbanded, with Konami outsourcing Homecoming and Downpour to Western developers who just didn't get what made the early games tick. We were also given the god-awful Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD Remaster Collection, which was panned to hell and universally regarded as one of the worst releases on the fifth generation of consoles. But in October of 2022, Konami announced that it was returning to the Silent Hill franchise with a bevy of new releases, including Silent Hill F, Townfall, and the shared multimedia project Ascension, which has already been out and was utterly terrible. It's trauma, indeed. At the end of the showcase, Konami revealed the Silent Hill 2 remake, helmed by the Layers of Fear and the Medium developer Bloober Team. People went nuts for it. I was downcast on it. I have a complicated history with Bloober Team. Actually no, it's not that complicated. I've hated every game of theirs I've played. From my perspective, Layers of Fear was nothing more than YouTuber bait, a set of predictable jump scares designed to get the PewDiePies and Markiplies of this world to scream into a camera. The Medium had a great premise, with two worlds being rendered at once as you explore a long-forgotten Soviet holiday camp, rescuing the lost souls of the long dead. But the execution was terrible, with a story that made no sense, a terrible antagonist creature, and an ending that just made me angry. Because of this, I paid no attention to the game. I was adamant it was going to be terrible. The Bloober Team couldn't do a good job and would end up ruining an iconic game from my teenage years. It just didn't make sense to me. Now that I've played the game, I can say definitively that I was wrong. It's good. I really enjoyed my time with it. But there's still a lingering question in my mind that I'm hoping I can answer in this video. Did Silent Hill 2 need a remake at all? Does Bloober Team's work make for a better experience or an equally iconic game? Or is it simply a very pretty reimagining of a classic that, while enjoyable, is ultimately a disposable experience compared to the original? Was there any real point to this high-budget endeavour? Before we get started, this is your spoiler warning. Throughout the video I'll be talking about the story and covering some of the endings. I did a single playthrough of this game for this video, so I'll be focusing in on the ending that I got, but while mentioning the others. The way this video is going to work when it comes to the cutscenes is I'm going to show you the important ones without talking over them so you can hear the dialogue and experience what happened, and then I'll go back over them in detail and explain. Further to that, I played through this on standard combat and puzzle difficulties, so any of the puzzles that I show in this video reflect that difficulty. If you play it on the easier or harder modes, they all change significantly. Also, this game covers some really dark themes, including depression, suicide, and sexual assault. It also contains violent and bloody scenes and some really messed up body horror. Viewer discretion is advised, and there are some links for support in the description if you feel you need it. With all of that out the way, let's journey into Silent Hill. James Sunderland's journey through the fog-covered town starts in a grimy public restroom at a rest stop above the town itself. Overlooking Toluca Lake through the trees, he ponders the letter that he received from Mary, his late wife. She died 3 years before the events of the game, yet this letter is unmistakably from her, summoning James to their special place. The road to town is blocked by scaffolding, so James needs to walk the rest of the way. The forest path down to the graveyard is eerie. The fog isn't too heavy here, but the silence is oppressive. There is ambience, of course. The sound of trees rustling and a gentle breeze causing the foliage to move makes you feel like you're being watched. When we reach the graveyard, we meet with our first lost soul of the town, Angela Orozco.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I was just...
Hey, it's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah, I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But... I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. And it's not just the fog either.
Is it dangerous?
Maybe. It's kind of hard to explain, but...
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going either way.
But why?
I'm looking for... someone. Someone very important to me.
Me too. I'm looking for my mama. I mean, my mother. It's been so long since I've seen her. I thought my father and brother were here, but I can't find them either. I'm sorry, it's not your problem.
No, I hope you find them.
Yeah, you too.
She's looking over the graves, clearing off grime and detritus as she looks for a specific headstone. She tells us she's looking for her mother, or in her words, her mama. She warns James that Silent Hill is dangerous, that something is going on there, but James doesn't care. He genuinely doesn't care what happens to him at this point. So I had my misgivings about the idea of a remake of this game. I'd always considered it perfect. There was, in my mind, no way to improve on the original game, but this cutscene sold me on the idea of the remake. Look at the expression on James's face as he says he doesn't care. That's pain. The actor playing James, Luke Roberts, of Holby City fame, weirdly enough, nailed that look of resignation and self-destruction, of a man who has nothing to lose now that his last drop of hope has disappeared. When the remake was announced and we saw some footage, a certain subset of gamers, the usual types, griped about the redesigned characters, with Angela coming under fire in particular.
Expectations were low, but yeah, this is that character, bro. Like, people were mad about this one. Holy shit. People were pissed. I don't know whose idea it was to make the character look like this. So, like, she used to be hot, right? She was hot, now she's not.
God give me strength. In the original game, she is gaunt and frail, whereas in the remake, her design gives her softer features and a more human appearance. This is, of course, because Angela's character model is based on the actress playing her, Gianna Keel. James's design doesn't necessarily reflect his voice actor. He's kept pretty close to how he looked in the original game. Although in the save screen I can't help but think he looks a little bit like John Krasinski. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of players who view Silent Hill 2 through rose-tinted glasses. I know that because I was one of them. This cutscene was highlighted early on as one where people didn't like the changes to the vocal delivery from the actors. So many people decried Gianna Keel's performance at first, saying it lacked the dreamlike quality of the original. Just for a moment, I want to compare the two, so this is the original performance of the cutscene.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry. I
No,
was
it's
just...
okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But
Yes?
I think you'd better stay away.
And this is the same line updated in the remake.
I'm sorry. I was just...
Hey, it's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah, I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But... I think you should stay away.
Yes, you can argue that the original performance is dreamlike, but I'd argue that it's more of a case of a dodgy performance direction. The Silent Hill series is a Japanese product, but the games were always voiced with an English script and English-speaking actors, and we all know what the quality of English voice acting was from Japanese developers in the late 90s and early 2000s. The modern performances, for me, work much better. The quality of the acting and the performance is miles above what Team Silent put together for the original. Once Angela has given us directions, we get into the town of Silent Hill itself, and we start the descent into James's state of mind. This game is unique in the series, as the strange goings-on in this town are personal and tailored to whoever's witnessing them. In the other three Team Silent games, the horrors we experience are created by a cult known as the Order, who are trying to instigate the birth of their god. Silent Hill 2 took a different approach, removing the Order from the story completely, save for a couple of Easter eggs and sigils on the walls. Instead, the narrative focuses on the trauma, guilt, and personal horror that James is feeling after Mary's death. In fact, everyone who is drawn to Silent Hill in this game sees the world differently, specific to their relative trauma or psychological issues. We meet three other people in the town, Angela, Eddie, and Laura, who all have their own reasons for coming to their town and their own demons to conquer. They also perceive the town in their own way. Fairly soon into James's exploration of Silent Hill, his attention is drawn to strange noises and a trail of blood on the floor, which leads him to a dilapidated house on the edge of town. Inside, he finds a small pocket radio which is screaming with static, which of course we know means there's something in here with him. In this room, James is ambushed by the first monster type of the game, the lying figure. This creature is wrapped in a cocoon of its own skin, lurching towards James. The creature exudes pain and suffering. The design reflects a sort of fetishized view of a woman, with its high boots and smooth features. James pulls a wooden beam from the window and defends himself from the shambling horror in front of him. All of the non-boss creatures in this game are feminine figures, a reflection of James's guilt, of his repressed sexual desires and the pain he experienced during Mary's long illness. For now, we only have to worry about the lying figures, but soon enough we'll encounter new beasties and horrors that are all fucked up beyond belief. Silent Hill is lovingly realised as James explores the town further. The Unreal 5 engine is being used to stunning effect. The layers of fog are dense and oppressive. The environment feels damp and cold as James wanders the streets looking for a clue as to where to go. Soon enough, James happens on Neely's bar, and we're given the first taste of the expansions that Bloober have created for this game. In the original game, Neely's bar is little more than a diversion, a creepy abandoned bar with ominous bloody writing on the window. In the remake, it becomes part of a side quest that will lead us to a key to access the first major area of the game, the Woodside Apartments. Inside the jukebox, James finds a half-shattered record and a clue to investigate the record store down the street. In there, despite a couple of monsters, James finds the other half of the record and some superglue, allowing him to repair it. Then he has to head to the Saul Apartments to find the missing button for the jukebox. And with these two parts in hand, James can replace the record and repair the jukebox. But he can't listen to the song. We need a coin, of course. Of course we do. In the Saul Apartments, James found a note which says something is worth looking at the cafe down the street. When we investigate, we find a quarter in the till, and on returning to Neely's bar we can listen to the song, which causes a key to drop from the jukebox and allows James through the back rooms of the bar into an alleyway.
Park on the lake. We spent the whole day there. Just the two of us staring at the water.
Out here we get one of the new features of the remake I really didn't like. The wind starts to howl and the fog becomes denser. The radio begins to go wild and James is set on by a group of lying figures. This is one of a handful of little combat arenas that will happen across the game, and they're unavoidable. In this instance we have to defeat every enemy before we can progress. This game has a stronger combat focus than the original had. In most cases this isn't that much of an issue. The change in camera perspective from fixed camera to over the shoulder helps with this. Combat is much easier, especially in this early part of the game before we get a gun. But on the other hand, to me it doesn't feel very right to have these video gamey sequences where you're locked into wave combat before you can progress. Something just doesn't sit right with me. Regardless, once the lying figures have been dispatched, James finds a key to the Woodside Apartments. Silent Hill 2 is structured around several, for lack of a better term, dungeons that are all linked via exploration of the town. The game is, overall, linear. You'll move from one area to another across the town, working through each place in sequence with little scope for moving too far from the beaten path. You'll explore the Woodside Apartments, which links to the Blue Creek Apartments, then Brookhaven Hospital, Toluca Prison, the Labyrinth, and finally the Lakeside Hotel. For the remake, each has been reworked and expanded in ways that are sympathetic to the original, but work better for modern game design standards. As an example, here's a map for the ground floor of the Woodside Apartments in the original game. And here's a map for the same area in the remake. It's a huge difference in play space, but at the same time it's not all padding. Like in the original game, these areas are extensive puzzle boxes you gradually open via exploration, combat and puzzles. Notably, the Woodside Apartments alone are about the size of the mansion from the first Resident Evil. You have 3 entire floors to explore to open everything up. In the apartments, James will meet a new enemy type, the mannequin. Right at the top here, I'm going to say fuck these guys. Fuck them to hell and back. Mannequins are a persistent enemy for the rest of the game, always found inside buildings, never outside in the town itself. They consist of 2 sets of feminine legs stacked on top of each other. They'll lie in wait for James. When they're not active, they don't set off the radio, so they'll always try to catch you by surprise. They will hide in rooms, behind walls, crouched behind furniture, or, in some absolutely evil placements, they'll flat out wait behind a door and smack James across the head before you can even react to them. Oh, I hate them. I hate them so much. They're also triggered by your torch. For some reason, shining it on them will activate them, so make sure you turn off the torch if you spot one before it activates. One fun thing about them though, and possibly the only fun thing about them, is that their AI will try its hardest to find a way to catch James out. I had moments where I would stand in a room and you can actually see them reposition themselves to find a place to surprise you. Horror games have always been bad for spawning enemies into places to surprise the player, so it's actually fun to see the enemies work out the best place to catch you out. As James explores the apartment building, he comes to a series of bars blocking the middle of a hallway. On the floor he spots a key that he needs to get further into the building. As he reaches down to pick it up, a little girl stomps on his hand and kicks the key away, giggling as she goes. This is Laura, and we'll spend a great deal of the first half of the game tracking her down, so I'll talk about her later. When James works his way around the building to reach the key on the other side of the bars, there's an ominous red glow coming down the hallway, and the radio starts to kick off. On the other side of the bars we get our first sight of the legendary boss monster Pyramid Head, standing there, menacingly, watching, waiting. He'll remain there until we move into a room or somewhere else in the building. Further into his exploration, James finds a dead body stuffed into a refrigerator in one of the apartments. This, in itself, is unusual. Silent Hill to this point has been largely empty. We haven't seen many bodies or much evidence that anyone had ever actually lived here. When we explore the rest of the apartment and enter the bathroom, we find our next lost soul.
Hey, who's there?
It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, I swear.
Hey, are you okay?
I didn't do anything. He was like that when I got here.
He? Oh, you mean the man back there? In the kitchen?
I didn't do it. I swear I didn't kill him.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not saying that you did. Look, my name is James. James Sunderland.
Eddie.
Eddie, okay. So, do you live here, Eddie?
No. I'm not even from this town. It's just...
Something brought you here.
Yeah, you could say that. Well, they came at me. I didn't know what to do, so I ran. I came here. Figured it might be safe, but then I found the guy in the fridge.
Easy, deep breaths. Look, this place, it's not safe. These things, this whole town, there's something wrong with it. It might be best if you just get out of here.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, you want to come with? Maybe together we can find a way out of this town.
Oh, sorry, but I can't leave. Not yet. I need to find someone.
Oh.
And, Eddie, be careful.
Yeah, you too.
The man heaving his guts up is Eddie, and he's clearly eaten something that doesn't agree with him. He's scared of James as soon as the door opens, saying that he didn't do it, like he expected us to be somebody else. Eddie keeps protesting that he didn't kill the man in the fridge, the body was like that when he got here. Eddie has been drawn here like James has, and he claims the monsters came at him so he hid in the apartment, which is where he saw the dead body and that caused him to start throwing up. He wants to escape the town and leave, asking James if they can team up, but James still needs to look for Mary. We'll see a lot more from Eddie later on. In the main office for the apartments there is the central puzzle for this area, the coin box. This box contains 5 slots for coins and a cryptic poem in 4 stanzas.
3 bright coins in the 5 holes be. First sits the maiden underneath the tree. The wind free behind the maiden doth blow. A beautiful flower alone has to grow. And here comes the man, so sleek and so fine. In the pale moonlight his eyes doth shine.
The 3 coins have 2 sides, so there are 6 possible symbols to enter across the 5 slots. In this case, the woman coin sits in the middle, under the tree, the man to the left under the moon, and the flower by itself to the right.
The man doth approach, his blade now revealed. His face disappears behind shining steel. Away from the man doth the maiden flee, towards the flower, away from the tree.
For this one, we need to flip the man coin to reveal the blade and move it to the right, then move the woman right next to the flower.
Where once grew a flower of venomous glee, where once was a maiden, but a stone doth be, and over her grave the man doth remain, his blade never met the vile serpent's vein.
Here we simply flip the woman and flower coins to reveal the stone and the snake, then flip the blade back to the man and move it next to the woman.
The beast who its teeth in her flesh doth bore, he who has failed, he who has failed, she who is no more. Now unto you falls a grievous chore. Who carries blame for what fate had in store?
For this part, we need to pick the killer of the woman. Was it the man, the woman, or the snake? This is important because it's one of the many factors that can affect which ending you receive at the end of the game. It's also a reflection for the core narrative. Who killed Mary? Was it James? Did she commit suicide? Or was it the disease that took her? Either of the three options will complete the puzzle. The answer is entirely up to you. Completing this puzzle nets you the key to the last apartment that James hasn't been able to investigate, which allows him to escape Woodside Apartments, crossing over an alleyway at a height to the neighbouring Blue Creek apartment building. But something is wrong. Something is very wrong. He walks into the apartment to see the creature fighting and what looks like raping a mannequin. James hides in the cupboard and watches in horror as Pyramid Head finishes what he's doing, tosses the dead mannequin aside, and slowly walks toward James's hiding place. The tension is palpable as James's fear takes over and he fires several shots into the metal helmet, stopping Pyramid Head in his tracks. The monster observes for a moment, then turns and leaves, allowing James and us to exhale and rest for a moment. Pyramid Head is one of the most iconic creatures in horror. He's represented as a tall, muscular executioner wearing an enormous triangular helmet that would block his view of the victim he's beheading. He carries a giant blade which you can hear scraping along the ground as he moves around the building. Eventually you'll see blade marks in the walls as he attacks the monsters that gets in his way. You rarely see him, but you can always see where he's been. Unlike Resident Evil's nemesis, or Mr. X, Pyramid Head isn't an enemy that generally stalks the player. In practice, he's not ever present, and he only turns up a few times in the game, but on your first playthrough you'll have a constant fear of him turning up. He's generally impervious to any damage you can lay on him, so on the rare occasion that you come face to face with him, it's better to just run away. But once the dust has settled, you can open the red door, which leads you to the Blue Creek Apartments. James has crossed over to the other world, Silent Hill's rusted, grimy alternate dimension. Everything here is twisted, distorted, and inconsistent. The world can change at will. There are more monsters and everywhere is dangerous. Blue Creek Apartments are a mirror image to Woodside, and if we were in the normal world it would be simple to navigate this place. But that would be too easy, wouldn't it? The Otherworld layout fills the building with obstacles, broken pathways, roadblocks, and randomly locked doors. Decay is ever present here. Everything looks damp or slimy. You can almost smell the odour of this building and it's deeply unpleasant. Blue Creek Apartments is filled with enemies. Almost every room has a mannequin in and some of the corridors are laden with lying figures. One of the classic puzzles from the original game makes an appearance here, the Grandfather Clock puzzle. However, it's been greatly expanded. In the original game you need to find a key to open the clock face, then set the time to 9:10 to allow you to move the clock and pass through a hidden passage. In the remake, you'll search the apartment building to find the 3 clock hands and position them one at a time. Each time you do, the layout for the area changes slightly. Some doors disappear, some appear. The level is constantly evolving as you make progress. One of the persistent themes of Silent Hill 2 is James jumping in holes. Man is obsessed with holes. In fact, I'm going to create a hole counter. There we go. His first hole is how he gets down to the ground floor of the apartments, but, dear viewer, tell me, if you saw this putrid-looking hole in the middle of a hellish ruined building, would you jump into the dark? Of course you bloody wouldn't! But James, well, James loves jumping in holes, and that's not a euphemism. Or maybe it is, given the game's themes. Anyway, on the ground floor we find Angela, who's lying on the floor of an apartment, staring into an enormous mirror, whilst idly playing with a butcher knife.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah. I'm James.
Angela.
Angela. Okay. Look, I'm not sure what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? What's the point? It's easier just to run. Maybe it's all we deserve.
We?
Me. You. We're all the same.
I'm not like you.
Are you afraid? Sorry.
It's okay. Did you find your mother?
No. Not yet.
Did she live here? In this building?
I don't know.
So all you know is that she lived in this town?
What did you say? How did you know that?
Well, I just figured because this is where you're looking for her. How else would I know?
Yeah. Sorry. Did you find the person that you were looking for?
Not yet. Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't know why I think she's here. She died 3 years ago.
She's dead?
Oh, don't worry, I'm not crazy. At least I don't think so.
We have to find my mama.
Should I go with you? This town really is dangerous. Now I know what you meant back there in the cemetery.
No, it's okay. Besides, I'd just slow you down.
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure, no problem.
If I kept it, I'm not sure what I might do. No! I'm sorry! I've been bad! Please don't!
She still hasn't found her mother yet, and she's acting despondent. The way she's twirling the knife around tells us that she's contemplating suicide. James tries to convince her that there's always a better way, but Angela doesn't believe him. Her answers start to become inconsistent, like she's in a haze or a dream state. When James mentions that Mary has died, Angela gets up in a hurry, saying she needs to find her mother. James asks her for the knife. She goes to hand it to him, but then lunges forward with it, breaking down and screaming that she's been bad before placing it down and running off. James takes the knife with him, noting it has blood on the blade. The remainder of Blue Creek Apartments involves clearing several puzzles to unlock the chains around the building, completing the clock puzzle and unlocking a door on the ground floor with an S carved into it. When James walks in here, he comes face to... helmet? Face? With Pyramid Head. This is our first boss fight. We're in a room filled with cages, like Pyramid Head is capturing monsters or something in here. Naturally, he immediately attacks, stomping towards James and swinging wildly with his cleaver. Now in this footage, you see me shooting at the boss. Don't do this, it's a waste of ammo. You can't hurt Pyramid Head. Instead, you need to avoid him. Make use of that dodge button. The music will build up and get faster, as will Pyramid Head as he stalks you around the room. After 3 minutes, a siren will blare in the background and the fight will be over. Pyramid Head will disengage, walk to the door and slam them open, leaving James alone in the room. When we follow, we step out into Silent Hill, back in the real world. For now, we've escaped the other world. And breathe. James is now on the other side of the apartment complex and closer to Rosewater Park, where he believes Mary is waiting for him. He meets Laura on the way to the park, just sitting there on a wall holding a letter.
Hey. It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
I dunno. What's a big dum-dum like you doing here anyway?
Hey, that's not very nice. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait! How do you know her name?
She continues to mock James as he tries to find out why she's alone in Silent Hill. She runs away from him saying that he never loved Mary, which gives James more questions than answers. On the pier in Rosewater Park, we see a figure standing, looking over the water.
Mary? No. You're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it. Your face, your voice, you could be...
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I? See? Warm.
Sorry, I got confused.
Hey. Where are you going?
I need to find Mary.
Didn't you say she died?
Oh. Yeah. 3 years ago. It's just... I got a letter from her.
A letter?
I know how it sounds. I'm not... I don't...
Hey. It's okay. So, what did the letter say?
She said she was waiting for me. In our special place.
And that's here? Anyway, I haven't seen her. Is this your only special place?
I don't know anymore. There was something. I can't quite.
Hey! I think I might know. I mean, there's this one place. Not far from here.
What kind of place?
The kind two lovers might call special. I can show you if you want. Unless you have somewhere else to be. Something else to do. Hey, easy there. I'm just messing with you. Come on. It's this way.
You're coming with me? Can't you just tell me where it is?
Wait. You're just gonna leave me here? Alone? With all these monsters around?
No, I just...
Is it because I remind you of her? You loved her, didn't you? Didn't you?
All right, just...
so it's okay.
Yeah.
James instantly thinks this is Mary, but really he's meeting Maria. She's a spitting image of Mary, but her hair is shorter, her demeanour is flirtatious and coquettish, and she dresses more provocatively than Mary ever did. As James talks to Maria, he mentions Mary's letter, that it said to meet her in a special place. But it's clear that James has forgotten exactly where that might be. He is sure that there is somewhere else, but he can't place it. What a great husband he was. Maria says she knows somewhere the two lovers might call a special place and offers to lead James there. He's resistant at first, but she already has a hold on him. She knows how to manipulate James easily. James follows her through the park, almost passively, like he's being pulled by a string. She leads him to a seedy motel, because of course she does. Suppose some lovers would consider it special. Apropos of nothing, there's a fun callback to the original game here. When you're exploring one of the rooms looking for a code to the safe in the office, Maria will root through the wardrobe and pull out an outfit, asking if James thinks she'll look good in it. And it's the outfit Maria wore in the original game. Pretty cute.
Hey, you think I'd look good in this one?
Sure.
Not quite the ringing endorsement, but hey, I'll take it.
Turns out the motel isn't where Maria was leading James, we just need to get through it. Once we have a code for the safe, to save you time, it's the Looking Glass code, 0451. Fucking nerds. We get the key to leave through the back of the motel, and James continues to follow Maria. This leads us to another windswept combat section, but this time we have to keep Maria safe. She can be killed during the sequence, so I found it better to just run and deal with any creatures that were directly in the way, otherwise you're just going to waste ammo. That being said, James does get to swap his wooden beam for a metal pipe, which is a nice upgrade. Once James and Maria have gotten through the combat gauntlet, they reach a red door. Maria conveniently has a key for this building, we're very much entering her domain. She walks ahead of James, disappearing into the depths of the building, gesturing for James to follow. And yes, like in the original game, he does try to peek over her shoulder. This is Heaven's Night, the premier night spot for the discerning gentleman in Silent Hill. As James walks through the backstage area, Maria is turning on the lights, giving a sultry glow to the area. This isn't the special place Maria was talking about, but it does convince James to stay a little while and have a rest. She plays on his sympathies and manipulates him into hanging around, whilst James asks if she thinks he's crazy for thinking Mary might be alive. The room is bathed in soft glows of reds and purples, Maria's signature colours.
Maria?
What? Oh, come on, don't give me that look. I was just kidding.
What is this? Is this the special place you met?
Don't be silly. Just have to go through and out the front. Then again, now that we're here, can't we stay Just for a little while. Catch our breath before we head back out there.
I don't have time to take a break. Mary could be out there, waiting for me.
I know. It's just... this place, this whole thing, it's like a nightmare. I just wanted to get away from it, even for a second. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I guess this place is getting to me, too. Am I crazy? You know, for thinking she could be here.
Crazy is one word for it, I guess. I can think of another.
What's that?
Hopeful.
Well, that's a nicer way of putting it.
Here.
What are you doing?
Something to take the edge off. No? You sure? Fine. Be that way. Here's to hope, undying.
We should probably get going.
Fine. Ready when you are.
She pours James a drink and he looks at it hesitantly, with almost a longing in his eyes. There's an implication here that James has, or had, a drinking problem since Mary died. I'm going to slow this bit of the cutscene down slightly. Watch how James's hands are tensed when the camera is focused on the drink. And then look at his face in the close-up. His eyes keep glancing down to the glass. His mouth opens and he tightens his jaw. He was tempted by that drink, just like he's tempted with Maria. There is a beautiful subtlety to this moment that I didn't initially pick up on until I rewatched the scene for this script. Honestly, it's superb performance capture direction and it's fantastic subtle acting. There's not much else in here. This area is more of a reprieve after the intensity of the last area. However, one of the booths has a nurse's uniform, which is some subtle foreshadowing for what's coming up soon. Also, I don't know why, but I found it strangely funny that in the Lost and Found box there was a wedding ring. Maria leads James to a garden by the cinema, where a statue stands dedicated to a condemned woman who lived on an island in Toluca Lake. I'll let Maria tell the tale.
Who is she?
There's a story told around these parts. Kind of a local legend. It tells of a woman who was cast out, sentenced to die on an island out on the lake. But there was a man in town who fell madly in love with her. And every night, he would sneak out, row across the lake, bringing her food and company. And every night, she would stand there on the shore, holding a lit candle to help him find his way. But this one night, a terrible storm broke out, caught him out in the open, and it blew out the candle. Even in darkness, The man would not give up. He would not turn back. So he fought against the raging waters until finally the lake took him. They say even then, the woman never lost hope. She kept coming out at night, kept lighting the candle to bring her beloved home, to lead him to shore. Not sure how much truth there is to it. It's probably just a fairy tale. But she's become something of a local saint. Patron of undying love. Hence this place.
She's not here.
What?
She's not here. And why would she be? I don't even remember this place. This was a mistake. I shouldn't have come here.
Hey. It's okay. There's plenty of other places to look. We can still...
Come on.
Before I go into this, there's more to the story that we'll get to later in the game, so I'm going to save this for later, but keep this in mind as it'll become important. At the end of their conversation, as James is feeling despondent, Maria begins to comfort him until they hear the sound of a girl screaming. The scream leads the pair to the cinema and James heads in to investigate. From the utility room we hear Laura talking to Eddie, saying that it was a rat that made her scream. She then calls him a gutless fatso. Lovely. Interestingly enough, Eddie's character is one who always believes that people are laughing at him or mocking him, which leads him to violence, but not with Laura. He doesn't like that she called him a gutless fatso, but he doesn't react to it. When we head into the theatre, we find Eddie in the front row eating a gigantic tub of ice cream with his hands. He's a catch for sure, ladies. He seems out of it. Initially he doesn't recognise James, and when James points out that he hasn't escaped the town yet, he simply says he didn't get round to it. The projector turns off, probably because of Laura, so James heads up to follow her. Ultimately, she gets out of the building before James and even manages to give Maria the slip outside. Chasing Laura leads James and Maria to our next major area, Brookhaven Hospital. Strap in, folks, this is where Silent Hill 2 kicks into gear.
James, look.
The hospital was my favourite area in the original game, and thankfully the remake follows suit. Like the apartments, the hospital is greatly expanded, with a layout that makes more spatial sense and feels like a hospital that would actually exist. This area is still absolutely nerve-shredding and features some of the more fucked up things the game can throw at you though. The objective in the hospital is, at least initially, to catch up to Laura. We see her drawings on the walls throughout the building as we follow her around. She runs up to the first floor. Yes, I'm British, the first floor, deal with it. And she locks the door behind her, so James and Maria need to find a way to get the lift working. Once the basement key has been collected from reception, we need to head down and see that, like the rest of the town, the lying figures and mannequins have made their way here too. I don't know what it was, but the basement was an area I found absolutely terrifying. James needs to put some fuel in the generator to get it going, which will power the lift and let us up to the first floor. When we get there, James notes the broken window as night begins to fall.
You okay?
I'm sorry.
That's fine. What's going on? Are you sure?
It's nothing. Probably just a hangover.
Maybe you should rest.
Yeah. Okay. So comfy.
I'm gonna go look for Laura. I'll be back as soon as I can.
James? I wanted to ask you. What if you can't find Mary? What will you do?
I haven't really thought about that.
Get back soon, okay?
Maria complains that she isn't feeling well. She's going to rest and recover in one of the patient rooms, allowing James to explore the hospital by himself. Whilst you explore the hospital, you can return to Maria to check on how she's doing, gaining some extra bits of dialogue. If you want the good ending to the game, do not do this! Part of achieving the good ending is playing James as if he's quite rightly suspicious of Maria, so you need to keep your distance from her as much as possible. If you keep checking on her in the hospital and then later in the Labyrinth, you'll push yourself towards an ending where James leaves Silent Hill with her at the end of the game, but that's for much later. The mannequins and lying figures aren't the only creatures in the hospital to deal with. No, this is where we get to meet our third enemy type, the Silent Hill standard of the fucked up nurses, the bubble-headed nurse. These shambling nightmares are dressed up in blood-stained nurses' uniforms that represent repressed desire, implying that whilst Mary was dying in hospital, James's wandering eye was paying attention to the nurses treating her. Their faces are covered in veiny, stretched skin. They're anonymous to James, as if he never even looked at the faces of the nurses he was ogling. They move in staccato, pained movements, erratically chasing James down. They'll carry either a metal pipe or a knife, and they take a lot to kill. 7 or 8 good strikes with James's pipe, the same amount of pistol rounds, or 2 good shotgun blasts will take them down. If you're in melee, they'll rush you and push you back, leaving you open for a strike from another enemy in the room. The nurses are a dangerous enemy and they can deal a lot of damage to James. They're also the first enemy who you'll notice can randomly get back up after you've defeated them, which was the same back in the original game, but it still put the shits of me regardless. The first time it happened, I actually screamed. I really should capture my mic when I record footage. In this first part of the hospital, James needs to solve a puzzle involving a fucking creepy mannequin hand in the director's office on the first floor to get access to a safe hidden in a side room of said office. It has space for 3 patient wrist tags, and there are 3 patient files on the dresser to the side. The files describe the patients Jack Davis, Joshua Lewis, and Joseph Barkin, and their various mental health issues. These patients represent the 3 lost souls in Silent Hill. Jack's condition is similar to Angela, who is both suicidal and placid. Joshua represents Eddie with his persecution complex and propensity for murderous violence. Joseph can represent James and his overall guilt over Mary's death. It can also be argued that all 3 patients represent parts of James, his belief that he is by and large a model person, his guilt over Mary's death at his hands, and then a desire for persecution and punishment he feels to satiate that guilt. When you reach the top floor, there is a sealed door with a viewing hatch, allowing you to see Laura drawing on a wall. When James calls out to her, she runs away, so we know where she is, we just need to get into that area of the hospital. I'm not going to go over everything in the hospital, this is a massive area, there's a great deal of environmental and contextual storytelling here. The long and short of it is that Brookhaven was a mental hospital. There are notes and diary entries detailing the various psychological maladies the patients were all experiencing. The 3 in particular we are interested in, Jack, Joseph and Joshua, all exhibited symptoms that made them a danger either to themselves or to those around them, hence why the director took particular interest in them. They were subjected to experimental and often cruel treatments that were tantamount to torture, either mentally or physically. Once we found the 3 patient tags and put them on the mannequin hand in the director's office, we get the key to a storeroom. In here we'll find the missing button for the safe and a quick puzzle that will give us the combination. Once you get the books in the right order, I recommend taking a screenshot, it's just easier that way. Inside the safe, James finds a key to the rooftop and a letter that reads,
Their images became blurry, melting together. I could no longer tell. Not sure if I can do it, but maybe you can. This will take you to where you need to be, though probably not the way you want to. And there's bound to be some pain, fault. There always is.
Could it be from Mary? It feels like it's written for James. The rooftop is where we need to go after all. Heading to the roof, James finds a broken fence, which if you've played the original game is a nice little Easter egg and a hint of what's to come. In the top of the lift shaft there is a handwritten diary note from a patient talking about their time being treated across a few days. The first side talks about the patient's fears and that the medication is making them sick. The second side features a great deal of anxiety about the patient's treatment and what they're scared of when they're discharged from Brookhaven Hospital. It really doesn't sound like this patient had a good experience here. As we'll find out later, this note also goes into some of Mary's fears and the thoughts that she had while she was being treated, so it all kind of links together. Anyway, James goes to leave and oh fuck you, here's Pyramid Head. Well, that's one way to get to the secure area Laura was in. When you look at the artwork that Laura has daubed onto the wall, what do you see? A big bunny, a little mouse, and a wolf hiding behind a tree. Yeah, you got it. It's Mary, Laura, and James. Laura does not like James at all. In fact, I think she's scared of him. Once we catch up with Laura, James tries to get answers, but Laura is cautious around him. She tells James that she met Mary at a hospital last year, but James yells at her, calling her a liar. She tries to run, James tells her she might get hurt, but there's nothing here to hurt her. She tells James that she needs to get a letter from Mary that's in the big room behind them. James walks into the obvious trap and Laura locks him in the room, taunting him and the fact that he keeps calling her a liar. But this room isn't empty. James isn't alone.
Nope, that's not it. I guess I won't open it.
Get me out of here, you brat!
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See a fart face?
Laura! Laura!
It's time for our next boss fight. The imaginatively named Flesh Lip. Flesh Lip. Ugh. How the hell do you even define this thing? It looks like a body that's been trapped in a metal cage that hangs from the ceiling by a distorted arm, bearing a disgusting set of lips between its legs. The game's producer, Masahiro Ito, commented that the lips represent Mary's verbal abuse of James while she was sick. It's inspired by an artwork called Second Version of Triptych 1944 by Francis Bacon. Yeah, actually, I totally see it. This is another moment where I think the remake excels compared to the original game. This fight in the original game is a bloody nightmare, pun intended. It happens in a much smaller room where the game's camera is notoriously unhelpful to the player. Because Fleshlip disappears into the ceiling regularly, keeping track of where it was became an absolute nightmare, and James would regularly end up taking damage from hits you couldn't see coming. By comparison, the remade version of the fight happens in a much larger room with a much more forgiving camera. Because you can look up at the ceiling, you can see it behind the ceiling tiles if it's destroyed, and it's much easier to track where it's going. The sound design helps as well, with clever panning to help you hear where it's moving, even if you're only using stereo speakers. As it takes more damage, the metal frame becomes more broken, and it effectively gains metal arms to hit James with. Halfway through the fight, it gains metal legs and drops out of the ceiling entirely. It charges the wall at the back of the room and doubles the space that you have to fight. Though it does become more dangerous and persistent, so make sure you keep your distance. The dodge button becomes your best friend during this fight. When you defeat it, there's a moment of silence and calm whilst James looks over it. only to be grabbed by another one and pulled into the ceiling. You hear that siren? Yep, we're back in the other world again.
James. James. James.
After hearing Mary calling for him, James wakes up in the day room in the otherworld version of the hospital, which, as it was in Blue Creek Apartments, is absolutely gross and not somewhere you want to hang around. You'll get an infection. The otherworld hospital progresses a little quicker compared to the normal world hospital. The objective is to release the chains on a box on the first floor, where the nurse's station is located. As with our previous venture into the otherworld, there are more monsters to fight and the layout of the map is subject to change depending on James's actions. Specifically, each chain and lock you release from the box will cause the layout to change and funnel you into the direction you need to go in order to progress. It's a very clever way of engaging with the player space whilst making sure the player doesn't get lost. The first chain is connected to a mannequin on the top floor. Not one of those mannequins, an actual static one. And it's creepy, yeah, I know. You use an instrument of force to break its arm off. Then you need to find the key of bliss from the ground floor. I say key of bliss, it's a lobotomy pick. Guess where that goes? This gives us the lapis eye key, which releases the first chain. Progress! The level layout is now changed, taking James around to the hall where he found the director's office in earlier. In place of the creepy mannequin hand is a decidedly less comforting ladder that leads to an electrolysis machine set up in some kind of ritual. Beginning to think the director wasn't on the up and up. Also, this is the room where we just fought Fleshlip, so, one may inform the other. Fleshlip could have been poor patient 0050. Turning on the generator and activating the electrolysis machine gives James the code for the key padlock, and one more layout change for the hospital. The final chain involves the most combat in this area. There's a collection of things to count that will allow you to work out the code for the combination lock. For instance, there are 6 pills in the sink. Then you need to find a clock and find the loud hour, and finally count the times the light in the next room flickers. It's basic stuff, but an enjoyable little puzzle nonetheless. That said, when the loud hour comes, as in when you set off the alarm, enemies will rush you. It's time to run. To be honest, it's not worth fighting them all. James enters the final code and unlocks the box to reveal nothing. It's empty. However, behind him, the covering on the wall falls down and the exit door is revealed. The relief on it is holding the basement lift button in her mouth. So we head downstairs, giving us the classic Silent Hill 2 meme of the trick or treat puzzle.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another exciting edition of Trick or Treat, where you answer our questions correctly and win a prize beyond your wildest dreams. Or you fail to answer correctly and receive the punishment. It's all in the hands of our lucky contestant, James Sunderland. James, are you ready to play Trick or Treat? Excellent! Here's your first question.
This weird little context-free diversion gives you the code for a puzzle box in one of the rooms downstairs. Get the 3 answers right, you'll get some supplies. Get it wrong and you'll take damage. It's one of the weirder parts of the game that genuinely makes no sense, but I'm glad they kept it in. As James deals with the somehow even more terrifying basement, he finds a copper ring. Maria catches up to him and James, well, he kind of fucks it up. Not only does he call her Mary, but well, you just watch.
James.
Mary! Oh. Maria, I thought... Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? I was almost killed back there. I have never been so scared in my whole life. All you care about is that dead wife of yours. You couldn't care less about me, could you?
No, I just...
Then stay with me. Don't leave me alone again. You're supposed to take care of me. So what about Laura? You found her?
Yeah, but she ran away.
What? Well, we have to find her.
Yeah, you really seem to care about that girl. Do you know her?
I'd never met her before. I just feel sorry for her. She's all alone and... I don't know, for some reason I feel like it's up to me to protect her.
Maria is laying it on thick here, pushing her manipulation of James even further, and casting him as a protector of her, trying to appear vulnerable to him so he'll feel sorry for her. But I want to take a moment to point out what an incredible job Bloober Team have done at representing such a manipulative relationship. In the original game, Maria is very much leading James around by his dick. She has moments of emotional manipulation, but it's all very light touch. Most of what she does is pulling him in a given direction through flirtation and suggestion. In this version, Maria has a whole toolbox of manipulation techniques for James. She still has that sexual temptress edge to her, but to this point we've also seen her acting goofy in the motel, displaying concern in the park, flirty in Heaven's Night, scared in the real-world hospital, sick, and now a mix of angry and vulnerable. Every major action between Maria and James is another attempt for her to wrap James around her finger, to play on his pain and loss for Mary and gain control of him. Silent Hill has created the ultimate foil to James and her, and the more time he spends with her, the blurrier the lines between Mary and Maria get for him. Anyway, back to the search for Laura. In the doctor's lounge, James and Maria find a chest freezer that James can't open alone. Naturally, there's remains inside, but Maria pulls out the lead ring, with the cutscene giving us one of my favourite interactions between them. It's so awkward.
Having trouble there?
Yeah. You think you could give me a hand?
Me? You're supposed to be the big man around here. How's a little girl like me supposed to help? Fine.
Oh, God.
What's this? Not very cute, is it? Here, why don't you take it?
Thanks.
The 2 rings fit on the hands on the relief that was revealed when the chain box was open. This is our chance to escape, but unfortunately, Pyramid Head has other ideas and he gives chase.
Run! There! An elevator! Come on, hurry!
James reaches the lift out of here first, Maria stumbles and, well, she doesn't make it. Jesus, that look on her face. At this point we're done with the hospital, though we're not done with the other world. James still needs to find Laura, who he can see running off into the darkness. The streets of Silent Hill are more dangerous than ever as we chase after the young girl. Most of the enemies that we've encountered to this point litter the streets, obscured by the dark and ready to jump out at James from every corner. This is one of the only times you'll ever see mannequins outside of buildings too. We head into the Lakeside Diner, which if memory serves is where Harry Mason wakes up in the first Silent Hill game after his car accident. Carrying on down the southern edge of town, James arrived at an abandoned caravan where he finds a tourist map, with writing on it that says,
"He who is not bold enough to be stared at from across the abyss is not bold enough to stare into it himself. The truth can only be learned by marching forward. Follow the map. There's a letter and a wrench."
This directs James to a phone box on Cat Street. When he gets there, the phone is ringing, but there's no one talking on the other end. When he hangs up the phone, a letter drops out of the return slot.
Or perhaps you are a fool. The truth usually betrays people. You should know, the key is in the park, at the feet of the praying woman. The wrench will open the gate. The key will let loose the abyss.
Remember all the statues in Rosewater Park? Well, that's where we're off to now. It's probably worth pointing out that the foreseeable future James is going to be in the other world. Despite Maria's death, the town isn't finished with James yet. In Rosewater Park we find Angela, who is stood staring at the same statue we've come to look at.
Hey. Are you feeling better?
This place is different from what I remember. I guess things never really stay the same, do they?
I guess not.
I don't think she's here anymore, James.
Who?
My mama. She doesn't want to see me anymore.
Why would you think that? Anyway, I'm happy to see you.
Happy to see me?
Alive, I mean.
Oh. Yeah. I better get going.
You still don't want me to go with you? If we stick together, we might just make it out of here.
Out of where?
This town. Silent Hill.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Oh, you didn't happen to see a little girl around here, did you?
A little girl?
Yeah, Angela? Are you all right? Angela?
No. Please. You shouldn't be here.
Angela, it's okay.
No, don't touch me!
She tells us that she feels like Silent Hill has changed, that her mother is no longer here. There is this moment she looks at James and a certain childlike expression crosses her face, like there's a wounded innocence to her. Angela believes that her mother doesn't want to see her anymore. And this is where James, despite meaning well, drops another absolute clanger. Fucking hell, James, give her hope and then just rip it away, why don't you? The poor woman wants to connect with someone, she's looking for comfort, bloody hell, man. When James asks if she's seen a little girl around, her own traumas come back to her. She regards James with suspicion, stops talking to him mid-sentence, and when he tries to reach out to her, she explodes at him. In this moment, she both fears and hates James. Well, not James specifically, but the object of her trauma. Men. We're going to learn about this pretty soon. Under the statue of the praying woman, James finds a lockbox with a message written inside that addresses him specifically.
My patient buried it here. I knew, but did nothing. It made me uneasy to have such a thing near. I wasn't looking for the truth. I was looking for tranquility. I also saw that thing. I fled, but the old society was sealed. No one dares to approach that place. Now I offer you the key. If you still do not wish to stop, James, I pray to the Lord to have mercy on your eternal soul.
There are a couple of schools of thought from the Silent Hill fans on who's writing these messages. We've encountered a few so far that either reference James, Mary, and Maria, or just outright speak to James directly, like this one. Silent Hill as a place operates on dream logic. The place doesn't have to make sense. Things can just be weird or obtuse for the sake of it. One school of thought tied to this game is that Silent Hill, or the entity that brought James to town, is fucking with him. That it's the town itself, or whatever malevolent force that afflicts people here, pushing him forward to discover the truth about himself and confront his trauma. The other thought is that because Silent Hill operates on dream logic, James himself could be writing these notes. There is some theory crafting going on around the internet that James is stuck in a time loop, and this remake might actually be a direct sequel to the 2001 game. Stay with me on this one, it gets a bit weird. To start with, there's memories scattered around the town. These moments where the camera focuses on a solved puzzle or items from the original games and you're given a comforting little sound. These all build to an achievement and can be looked at as pure fan service. But what if they weren't? What if they were James remembering previous loops? There are a few corpses that litter the town from place to place. Look at them. Do they look familiar? They have James's haircut, his coat, his jeans, his boots. Could they be versions of James that didn't make it out of the time loop? There's other hints and evidence of it, including changes to Pyramid Head's behaviour towards James between the games, or little interactions with Maria in the town that I don't have footage of, but it's certainly a fun theory. Even Masahiro Ito himself said on Twitter that all of the endings to the game were canon. Take that however you will. So it's entirely possible the unnamed author of all these notes and messages that are guiding James to the town could be a different version of himself trying to help him escape the loop. But it could also be just Silent Hill fucking with them. You never know. Something to chew on, I suppose. Either way, in the box we also find a key to the Silent Hill Historical Society, so that's where we're off to next. After a very long and quiet walk down the lakeside road, the Historical Society sits by itself, isolated on the edge of town. Inside is what you'd expect, displays and cabinets showing off the history of the town. Silent Hill itself is wrapped in tragedy. There's the paddle steamer Little Baroness, which sank in Toluca Lake on its maiden voyage in 1916, killing everyone on board. In the main room of the building there are more cases and paintings. There's a painting of Pyramid Head with the inscription, "Misty Day, Remains of the Judgment," showing him in his role as an executioner, the damned hanging around him in metal frames, like what was containing Fleshlip. We find out that Brookhaven was built in response to a plague that covered the town after a wave of immigrants arrived. There's paintings of a concrete room with a deep black hole in it. Sure, James's love of holes was working overtime here. Most importantly for this area, however, is a book giving a new perspective on the Lady of Light legend that Maria told James about in the garden. When Maria told the story, she tells James that the man rowing across the lake died because the wind blew out the maiden's candle. He got lost and ultimately died. This written version of the story contradicts that, saying the night was exceptionally clear, the moonlight reflecting brilliantly on the lake's surface, so that the man in the boat could not see the maiden's candle. He followed the moonlight and was led astray, rowing until he could row no more in the hope of reaching his beloved. When his boat capsized, he was so exhausted he couldn't save himself and he drowned. The woman never gave up hope of seeing him again though. Every night she would still light her candle to bring her beloved home. It's a subtle, brilliant manipulation from Maria. She's leading James away from Mary. Maria is the moonlight. She's a brilliant, tempting and vibrant version of James's idealised image of Mary. She is Mary, but brighter and elevated. She is leading James away from a more humble, down-to-earth woman that he married, the maiden with the candle. By telling James a story that omits the moonlight and any temptation, she's preparing James to follow the light no matter what, and that there is only the one light. Follow Maria's light, the one he can see, the brightest light, not the softer, smaller light. It's so fucking clever. It's time now, we can't avoid the elephant in the room any longer. And by elephant, I mean the door hewn from the wall in the rock, leading us down the world's longest set of stairs to our next major dungeon, Toluca Prison. Remember that we're still in the other world right now, so this place is suitably grimy, dilapidated and bloody horrifying. In the game's lore, Toluca Prison was built in the 19th century, so there's lots of objects and references to the bad old days. In one of the first rooms we find pictures from a celebration, with two men wearing white robes and crimson fabric masks, one of whom bears a striking resemblance to our blade-wielding tormentor. There's a picture marked "Death by Skewering," showing what looks like lying figures impaled on spikes, the inscription explaining that executed prisoners were given a choice of being hanged or skewered as their last taste of freedom. Cruelty was the point, it would seem. The final image is the prison itself, saying it was built in 1862 to house prisoners during the American Civil War as a prison camp, becoming the prison proper 4 years later. That was a lovely history lesson, wasn't it? Moving on, James heads through a metal door and oh, doesn't this look familiar? Yes, this is the hole we saw up in the Historical Society. Down he goes. After wading through some water in a room full of bugs, looky here, another hole. James is being spoiled today. He lands in the prison cafeteria where our old friend Eddie is having a moment in front of a corpse. This moment is another example of how Bloober have elevated the source material.
Ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head and pow.
Eddie?
Oh, hi, James.
What happened here? Who was that?
I don't know. It just came at me.
Okay. So he attacked you, and you shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He made me do it.
Okay, calm down, Eddie. Any idea why he would do that?
I don't know. He came out of nowhere. Tried sneaking up on me in the dark. I heard footsteps, so I turned back and he was right there.
And you could tell that he wanted to hurt you.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way he looked at me, I just had to do it.
He looked at you? I thought you said he came at you.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it in his eyes.
His eyes?
He kept looking at me, making fun of me. And I told him not to, but he didn't listen.
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking. The guy was dead when I got here. I got you, didn't I? Well, anyway, I better get going.
Wait. You're gonna go out there alone?
Yeah.
Eddie's story doesn't add up to James, like he's spinning lies, but the body looks like it's been dead for a while, so maybe Eddie didn't actually kill him. Either answer could be right, but then that cold dead stare and twisted giggle from Eddie sends shivers up my spine. The man is truly unhinged. Also, as I was talking about before, this corpse looks a little bit like James. Toluca Prison is probably the most gameplay heavy part of the game for me. It certainly has the least relevance to James's search for Mary. It feels like a transitionary area. It's also the largest space in the game to navigate, with dozens of cells, rooms and corridors to work through. The prison is split off into 4 distinct areas, gated behind a puzzle that involves setting weights on a scale to open locked doors. You need to find a complete set of weights to release the gallows puzzle in the prison yard. In this prison, I have some good news and some bad news. Good news, the game doesn't introduce any enemies here. Bad news, the mannequins get an upgrade. Now they skitter around on all fours, climb walls and leap at you from above. Like spiders. Bloober Team, come here, listen to me, Bloober Team. You didn't have to. It would have cost you absolutely nothing to not put this in the game, yet you did it. Bastards. Thankfully the prison gives James the final tool in his arsenal, the rifle. This weapon is so powerful, it has a fantastic range and it can take down a mannequin in one shot. Sadly the ammunition is quite limited, so I found it best to save it for the boss fights, but it's bloody useful at times. I'm not going to cover the prison in detail because there isn't much of James's story here, and while it certainly is the scariest area of the game, most of your time here will be spent either fighting monsters, solving puzzles or running away from them. You'll shuttle back and forth between the prison yard, unlocking doors until you've looped through the prison a full 4 times over. The gallows puzzle in the yard, once you've completed the weights puzzle, is definitely interesting though. You're presented with 6 nooses and a monument in the centre with 6 half stories written in the stone. The other halves are scattered on the ground. The goal here is to match up the pieces on the floor with the relevant stories. Once you've done that, then you need to decide which prisoner is guilt-free. They all did something, be it murder, infanticide, theft, drug abuse, etc., but 5 of the 6 will be guilty of their crime, or at least their crime will have a victim of some description. When you've worked it out, pick the right noose and James will pull it, sending him down yet another hole to the next main area, the Labyrinth. The Labyrinth starts off sending James around multiple corridors that are reminiscent of the Woodside apartments, but in a twisting, winding, fucked up sort of way. A bloody newspaper clipping talks about a man called Thomas Orozco being killed from a stab wound to the neck and the police opening an investigation. Eventually we enter a familiar apartment, one that we were in back in Blue Creek. This is the one where we met Angela, and she's here again. But this time she's terrified. She cowers from James before one of the most fucked up creatures in the whole game bursts in attacked.
Tell him I'll be good, please.
Angela? Angela, it's me.
No, please. Daddy!
This is Abstract Daddy. Yes, that's his name. There's a lot to unpack here. Angela was physically, mentally, and sexually abused by her father as a child. Abstract Daddy is 2 fleshy forms stuck to a bed frame, writhing in agony. To this point, every monster that James has encountered has been a projection of his own mental issues, hence why they've generally all been female-coded, save for Pyramid Head. Abstract Daddy is the only monster we encounter that doesn't come from James's psyche. This is a projection from Angela, and as a result, this is the only monster we encounter, again save for Pyramid Head, that is explicitly male. Abstract Daddy will chase you through the labyrinth, destroying walls in a furious, powerful chase as he's determined to destroy both you and Angela. The level design is constantly shifting, and Abstract Daddy will burst through walls, either closing off or creating routes for you to escape. There are 3 rooms that feel like dead ends until you destroy the static-filled TVs, causing him to burst through the wall like a fucked up Kool-Aid man. Eventually you'll end up in a showdown in an industrial room. Abstract Daddy hits like a train, but he only has the one move. He'll sprint at James and try to grab him, causing massive damage if he connects. But he's easy to dodge and do damage to. Weirdly enough, he's actually quite resistant to bullets, but if you use your pipe, he takes a huge amount of damage and you can kill him really quickly. I suspect this is some kind of dark joke, that Abstract Daddy did so much harm to Angela when she was vulnerable, but he falls like a cheap card table when someone capable of fighting back confronts him.
Angela. It's okay. Calm down.
Don't order me around!
I'm not. It's okay. It's over.
Don't even try.
Try what?
Like you don't know. see what you're doing. It's always the same with you. You're only after one thing.
Angela, please.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead. Say it. Or you could just force me. Like he always did. You disgusting pig. I hate you. I hate you.
Angela, I don't know who you think I am, but I don't want to hurt you. I just want to get my Mary back.
You're Mary. Your own little Mary. At least she was. For a while.
What?
Admit it. You didn't want her around anymore.
No.
You probably found someone else.
No.
I need to find my mama.
I never.
Once he's dead, Angela gets to exorcise her demon, kicking furiously at the corpse of her tormentor, wailing and crying. But the damage is done. Confronting her abuser doesn't set her free. She still can't find her mother, she's still alone and afraid. She accuses James of only being after one thing, saying that James will want to force her like her father always did. Every drop of pain and hatred falls from her, while James tries to calm her down. He says he just wants his Mary back, but Angela regards him with a sneer, saying that he wanted his own little Mary, then telling him he didn't want her around and that he'd found someone else. James protests against this, but Angela doesn't care. She walks off into the dark, leaving James scolded and alone in the labyrinth. I love this fight. It was exciting, it was brutal, it was actually pretty scary at times. I think this might be my favourite boss fight in the game, and so far, the boss fights have all been highlights of this remake. While this isn't a full resolution to Angela's storyline, this is Silent Hill beating her down once again. She didn't defeat her father, James did. She didn't overcome her pain, James just buried it deeper. Her anger fuels her hatred of men, her hatred of James, because of what her father, and it's also hinted that her brother also, subjected her to as a child. The knife that Angela was idly playing with earlier on wasn't a tool to commit suicide with. It was the knife that killed her father. That's his blood on the blade, not hers. It was the only way she could stop the abuse and get away from him. Yet despite this, she's drawn to Silent Hill. She believes to find her mother, but the town is amplifying the trauma her father subjected her to. Until going back through the footage to write the script, I hadn't noticed this, but in every cutscene between James and Angela, James is always framed above her. She's either bent over looking at something, she's on her knees, lying on the floor, etc. She has a deep distrust and hatred towards men because of her abuse, and she's never comfortable around James, and this framing alludes to this. Think of it from her perspective. She is alone, in an empty town, but this stranger keeps running into her, telling her to calm down or to get some control, and talking about trying to find some mystery woman. James is so much taller and broader than she is, you couldn't blame her for wondering if this man was going to start the cycle of abuse with her all over again. Her mood becomes more erratic around him the further into the story we get. She swings between scared and violently angry around him, unable to keep an equilibrium. After Abstract Daddy is killed, that fear and hatred is pushed onto James, because the death of this version of her father doesn't help her at all, it just means she has no avatar for it. That's why she asks if James is going to force himself on her. From her perspective, James isn't any different to her father. He's a man claiming to love someone, but the man in her life who should have loved and cared for her used her and destroyed her. That poor woman, she didn't deserve any of this. Moving into the centre of the labyrinth, the first thing we see is, well, this wibbly door. It's a writhing mass of arms and mannequin legs that's currently impassable. This is our way out of the labyrinth once we solve the damn thing. Next to it is a large void that doesn't do anything yet, and a path down some stairs which takes us to a cell where Maria is waiting for us.
Maria? Maria! I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt?
Not at all, silly.
But the thing... It stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before. Don't you remember?
James? Honey? Did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything. But you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So you are Maria.
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
Doesn't matter who I am. I am here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Well, if you happen to make up your mind, I'll be waiting.
I'll find some way to... I'll come back, I promise.
I love this cutscene. I think this is my favourite scene in the game. Maria is just sat in the cell, smiling sweetly at James as he walks in. She doesn't remember being stabbed by Pyramid Head, but she does have Mary's memories, including the videotape that James and Mary made in the hotel. In fact, the way she's speaking to James is different, almost wistful, certainly not as flirty as she'd been earlier in the game. James gets confused, asking if she's Maria, but she gives a more cryptic response, "I'm not your Mary." She continues to be evasive as James starts to get annoyed, stating it doesn't matter who she is, that she's here for James, which I think is a pretty loaded double entendre. Is she here to love James, or to claim him? Maria touches James's face, saying, "I'm real," asking if he wants to touch her. Look at James's face. He's absolutely intoxicated by her. He's losing grip on the difference between Mary and Maria. His resistance is waning. By the end of this conversation, Maria's tone has returned to her coquettish default. James promises to come back, slowly leaving the room. As the door closes, we just see Mary staring him down. There's so much to unpack here. Maria, as a creation of Silent Hill and a projection from James, already knows everything there is to know about Mary and their relationship. Each word she utters in this cutscene is a furthering her manipulation of James. Bringing up the Lakeside Hotel in the videotape reminds James of a happy memory of Mary, catching him off guard and leaving him vulnerable. When he questions who Maria is, she's evasive, but the line, "If you want me to be," is telling. Maria knows who and what she is, but most importantly how to get under James's skin. She's trying to mould herself to his likes and pull him away from the quest to find Mary. She's already tried to dominate him, to seduce him, and now she's trying to evoke that love James had for Mary. For a brief moment it works. You can see that look on James's face when she touches him. It's a look of familiarity, of longing, of the memory of Mary's touch. But when James halfway rebuffs her, she sits back down and withdraws from him. Once you leave her, you can come back and check in on her whilst you explore the labyrinth, although she doesn't have anything to say this time. She'll just be humming to herself. Like in the hospital, if you check on her, this will push you down one of the endings that I'll discuss later on. When you return to the room with the void, it's changed. The void is gone. A whacking great big metal cube hangs in the space. In the middle of the room is the machine puzzle. This small cube with 6 faces on it can be turned in multiple directions, making the corresponding turn on the giant cube. This is a much simplified version of how the puzzle appears in the original game, mostly because you can actually see the effect you're having on the cube in real time, rather than making a move and then looking around to see what's changed. The goal of this puzzle is to move the giant cube to create an access point that will allow you to head through 3 puzzle and combat areas, the first of which is the Rotten area. These areas are mostly combat and fetch quests, so there isn't that much to talk about. The Rotten area has a central room featuring a hanging cage and 3 doors. Each door leads you on a little run to find 3 components of a lighter to burn the rope that's holding the cage above you. It's dark, it's gross, it's disgusting, and it's full of horrible bugs and mandarin enemies that hang from the grated floor and attack James from below. I'll talk about them a little bit later. One interesting part is that there's a secret room that's referenced back to the original game's Hangman puzzle, which you find in the Labyrinth, rather than Toluca Prison. Once you've made the lighter, you drop the cage and create. Everyone say it with me. A hole! God, James has been spoiled today. Next up is the Desolate area. This one is probably burnt into the memories of anyone who played the original game, as it's a pretty iconic sequence. The upper area is a small warren of rooms and corridors that are filled with mannequins climbing up and down the walls, ready to jump on James's head at a moment's notice. You'll find 5 ladders which will take you to a lower, semi-flooded level filled with lying figures. You'll loop around this area several times until you wander into a hallway filled with bugs, and oh fuck, he's here! Yes, Pyramid Head is patrolling this hallway. Run away from him, don't fight, just run. The north end of this corridor you'll find his private chamber and workshop. This is where the sword-swinging bastard lives. You're no doubt panicking here, but stay calm. There's a wall you need to smash through, but be careful and bait him away as you need. Once you slip through the gap and climb the ladder, there's a corridor full of beasties to blast into pieces that will lead you to the wire cutters you need to progress. One more tense Pyramid Head field run later and you'll find another hole to jump in. Add that to the counter. The final part of the labyrinth is the ruined area. This is my least favourite part of the level simply because it's a straight combat gauntlet. You have to get through 3 apartments similar to the Blue Creek building. Each has a door that you should recognise as a door that has led to Pyramid Head in the past. You have to clear each room before the red door will open and let you push on. That's it. You have to do it 3 times. When you reach the end of the area, you find yourself in a tight corridor with another wibbly arm wall at the end of it. And then Pyramid Head bursts in and will start to approach you. Like the first time you had a boss fight with him, he's impervious to damage. It's not worth spending your ammo on him at all. But as he gets close to the wibbly wall, the arms will retract. They're scared of him. Keep your distance, dodge his attacks, draw him towards you through the arms until you can escape. That's it. This time there is no hole to jump into. Instead you reach a door that leads you into the cell with Maria.
Maria?
She's lying on the bed, quite dead. But this isn't the work of Pyramid Head. Wow, that all rhymed. Maria is covered in the same scarring from the disease that took Mary. James has to relive the grief of Mary's death again, but this time over Maria. Also, at the start of this cutscene, we can see that Maria wears a bracelet with a crescent moon on it, making another connection back to the story of the Lady of Toluca Lake. Maria was always the moonlight, tempting James in the wrong direction.
Mary.
We return to the centre of the labyrinth and the cube is gone. In its place is Pyramid Head's great knife, which you can pick up. It's far too heavy for James to wield, but if you drag it to the wibbly arm wall you saw on the way in, it'll recede and allow you to pass. It's a shame you can't take it with you, it would be nice to use, but hey ho. The end of the corridor is a ladder that will lead to a graveyard, because why wouldn't it? There are 3 open graves here, one for Angela, one for Eddie, and one for James. And guess what we do here? If you said jump down the hole, then you're right! Add another one to the counter. There's one more boss fight in this area before we can get out into fresh air. After dropping through the grave, James finds himself in a featureless corridor with a blood-stained door at the end of it. Cross through and he's suddenly caught up with Eddie, who's standing over another corpse, holding his revolver.
Couldn't leave well enough alone, huh? You just had to follow me all the way out here. How many times do I have to kill you?
Eddie? Whoa, Eddie, it's me.
Oh. Hi, James.
Eddie, what are you doing?
What's it look like I'm doing? You fat, disgusting piece of shit, you make me sick! You gonna cry, fat ass? You gonna run to your mama? Waste of skin, why don't you just kill yourself? Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh!
Eddie.
What's that? You want to talk down to me some more? Tell me to relax? You're just like the rest of them, James.
No, I don't want...
Shut up! You think I'm stupid. You think I don't see it. But you've been laughing at me all along. Ever since we first met. But you ain't laughing now, are you?
You need help, Eddie.
Don't get all holy on me, James. This town called you too. You and me are the same. We're not like other people, don't you know that? Well, you're about to find out.
Eddie has flat out lost it. He asks the corpse how many times he had to kill it. When James asks what he's doing, he bursts out with the insults he's received over the years. All the times he's been called a fat ass, all the hatred from being bullied through his life just comes pouring out of him. As someone who was bullied for being overweight as a child, I can't help but sympathise with him. Well, until he says the line "a corpse can't laugh." As he puts more rounds into the corpse, again you see that it looks like James. He turns his gun on James, saying that he's been laughing at Eddie ever since they first met, which we as the player know isn't the case. But Eddie is so far gone he sees anyone else as a bully. His internalised self-hatred from his lifetime of being bullied clouds his view and perception of how others see him. To Eddie, everyone is a bully to him, which fuels his paranoia and his violent outbursts. James socks him in the face, telling him he needs help, but Eddie comes out with his most lucid statement of the game. He knows what the town is doing, that it's summoned James too. He says James is the same as him, which you can interpret as he knows James is a killer too. Eddie runs into the next room and we've got another boss fight on our hands.
Do you know what it does to you, James? When you're hated, picked on, spit on, just because of the way you look? Yeah, I ran away after I killed that dog. But you know what? It was fun! It tried to chew its own guts up. Finally died all curled up in a ball. Then he came after me. I shot him too, right in the leg. He cried more than the dog. And now it's your turn, James!
I've been waxing lyrical about the bosses in this game and how much better they are than the original version. Eddie's fight does not disappoint in the slightest. Functionally, the fight is still the same. You're trapped in a meat locker with Eddie as he runs and hides behind carcasses, taking pot shots at you from a distance with his revolver. For the remake though, they've expanded the fight. It now takes place over 3 phases. The first phase is how you would remember the fight, hunting Eddie down amongst the carcasses and trying to land some hits while he runs away and tries to stay in the shadows. The second phase, he shoots a coolant pipe in the ceiling, dousing the room in a deep mist, making it even harder to see him. For the final phase, he activates the conveyors, causing the cow carcasses to move unexpectedly, making your cover less reliable. The key to this fight, unlike what you can see me doing on the screen, is to turn off your torch. It makes you harder to see, so Eddie can't get a bead on you. Walk, don't run, and stick close to the carcasses. Each of them can take a few hits from Eddie's revolver before it's destroyed, and every 6 shots he'll stop and reload, giving you a window to hit him a couple of times with the rifle or getting close for a hit with the pipe. I love this fight. It's tense, it's a hunt, it's kill or be killed against another person. Eddie is constantly taunting you throughout, at first admitting to his first kills, and then trying to antagonize James as he stalks through the hazy meat locker. This isn't a traditional monster, Eddie's a human being. Sure, he's an unhinged serial killer, but James will still have to deal with the guilt of killing him. I don't know how Bloober managed to do it, but that shot of Eddie lying dead on the floor at the end of the fight is superb. You can see the life leave him, that cold, dead stare, the only thing left of him. Leaving the meat locker, James finds himself at a jetty with a small rowboat tied to the end. It's time to head to the final area of the game, but he needs to cross Toluca Lake first. Remember that story Maria told to James about the Lady of Light? The fog on the lake is just as thick as anywhere else, but in the distance there's a light. Follow it. Don't get distracted. Simply follow that light to Mary. Or rather the Lakeview Hotel, James and Mary's special place. We finally made it. It's rather serene here, don't you think? Perfect place for a couple to get away from their troubles for the weekend. As with everywhere else in this damn town, it's deserted, and as a result, it's spooky as fuck. There are a few core puzzles to work through in the hotel, but right off the bat you find out that reception has kept James and Mary's videotape, and you'll find it in the employee area. It's going to take a while to get around there though, so when you pick up the map you'll see that room 312 is marked. That's James and Mary's special place and our goal for this area. In the centre of the lobby is an immense music box that's missing 3 parts. This is one of 2 major puzzles we'll need to complete in the area. In the restaurant we catch up with Laura, who's hiding behind the piano. She hits a loud note to scare James.
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did. I guess I deserved it, huh? The fart face that I am.
Maybe. Then again, maybe you're not so bad. Just annoying.
Uh-huh. So, you got any other things planned? I think I saw a dark room back there you could lock me up in.
No. I think you've had enough. For now.
Well, that's reassuring.
Besides, I need your help finding Mary. She's here. Isn't she? Come on, tell me.
I wish I knew.
But she said it in her letter.
Wait. So there really is a letter?
Oh. Yeah. Want to read it? Just don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She's our nurse. I, took it from her locker.
My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place. Please forgive me for not saying goodbye before I left. Be well, Laura. Don't be too hard on the sisters. And Laura, about James. I know you hate him because you think he isn't nice to me, but please, give him a chance. It's true, he can be a little surly sometimes, and he doesn't laugh much. But underneath, he's a really sweet person. I love you, Laura. I love you like my very own daughter. I wish things were different. I wish we could be happy together, like we talked about. Even so, I know you will have a good life. You're a strong, smart, beautiful girl. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend, Mary.
Laura. How old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
That means Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. She also talked a lot about you, you know? She even...
What? What is it?
Well, there kind of was his other letter. I think the one was for you. The envelope had your name on it.
Did you read it?
I wanted to. This one time, I almost did. Figured you didn't deserve to have it. But then I thought, Mary wouldn't want me to keep it from you. So I just sort of kept it for you. Here.
It's empty. Laura, there's nothing in it.
What? But I didn't take it. I swear.
Well, where is it then?
I must have lost it. I gotta find it.
Laura,
She's friendlier to him this time round, and they actually sit and talk. For a brief moment in this cutscene, Laura actually looks happy. She asks for James to help her find Mary, saying that in her letter Mary said she would be at this hotel. Laura finally hands James the letter that Mary left her, and he reads it. Mary wrote the letter for Laura's 8th birthday, which came around shortly after she would have died, at least by the text of the letter. Laura tells James she's just turned 8, and there's a moment where you see James contemplate the possibility that Mary didn't die 3 years ago, where there's a flicker of something like relief, like the guilt is suddenly pulled up away from him. Laura has another letter from Mary, this one addressed to James, but when he opens the envelope there's nothing inside it. She runs off again, determined to find the letter. Also, look at the drawing that Laura has done in the fogged up glass. It's a mouse and a dog. The dog is smiling. When Laura had been running away from James, all of her graffiti had the dog snarling or stalking the mouse and bunny. There's no bunny here. It's Laura and James in this drawing. I love these little details. The hotel is expansive and will involve James doing laps of the place, unlocking doors, searching through rooms and battling with every kind of monster he's encountered so far. There are so many mannequins hiding around this place, it's unreal. Like the prison, I'm not going to cover the entire run of this building, but there's a few key events worth pointing out. On the second floor you'll eventually open the conference room, which has a locked fireplace you need to open to retrieve one of the figurines needed to complete the music box puzzle. When you grab it, you'll have a mini-boss encounter with a mandarin. Yeah, the things that were hanging on the grates in the other world. This horrendous creature hangs from the ceiling from thick suckers attached to the end of its massive arms. Its thin, distorted body hanging from below it. Its head is one giant mouth forced into a fleshy cage-like structure. It's utterly awful to look at. Like Fleshlip, the mouth is supposed to represent Mary's verbal abuse of James as she lay dying, further supported by one of its attacks being a long, piercing tongue that can hit James over a distance. Masahiro Ito also confirmed that these creatures only appear in the other world. Despite how this place looks, we're not in the normal world, this is still the other world. In fact, ever since we fought Fleshlip in the hospital, we've been in Silent Hill's alternate dimension, and James won't escape it until the end of the game. It's a fantastic misdirect. Once it's been put down or you've run away from it, you can get the final part needed to complete the library puzzle and progress down to the employee area. This involves putting 4 books in the correct place in the bookcase to open a secret room. Then you need a light bulb from one of the fountains in the gardens, a tin of red paint, the can opener you find hidden in a book that you get access to after the Mandarin fight, and this gives you the code for the briefcase sat on the bed in the hidden room. It's a long and winding puzzle, but you get the key for the employee lift from it. Now if you're trying to get the good ending, pay attention here. This is where I fucked it up and lost the leave ending. When you go to step into the lift, it'll sound an alarm if you're carrying your weapons. There's a cupboard to the side for you to deposit your inventory in. Do not leave the photo of Mary and her letter. You can take that with you down here. It's just your weapons and healing items you need to leave behind. I was so annoyed when I found this out, so take my warning if you're trying to get the leave ending. Right down the lift and without your weapons, it's a stealth section! There are a couple of mandarins patrolling around here, as well as a couple of lying figures hiding out in some of the rooms. James and Mary's videotape is in the safe in the central office. Simply enough, you need to find the code. You get this by finding a few coloured gemstones in the area, which you'll use to solve a projection puzzle in the manager's office. Place the pieces on the board and match the symbols to the picture hanging on the wall and you'll get the code. Simple as. You can't go back up the lift, so James needs to go through the basement and unlock the Venus bar to get back to the hotel. This will give him the final figurine for the music box puzzle in the lobby. I found this puzzle particularly awkward. You need to place the 3 figurines in their correct spots and then turn the tracks around so each figurine can pass to their respective doors. I found it a bit of a struggle visualising the directions for each figurine to move, so I kind of brute forced my way through it. Once you've done that though, the second part of the puzzle opens up, with 3 keys and 3 poems. Again, this one feels a bit awkward. Each poem has a couple of numerical values to it, which represent the amount of turns of the key for each figure to progress down their track. Too many or too few turns, the figure won't reach their door. You need to get all 3 right to complete the puzzle. Again, I kind of sort of brute forced this one. But once it's complete, you get the 3rd floor key, which will allow you to access room 312. This is it. We found James and Mary's special place. Putting the video in the player, James watches a sweet memory of their time at the hotel.
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful. You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place. I think I can see why. It's too bad we have to leave. Promise you'll take me again, James?
The sweet memory gives way to horrors of Mary in her hospital bed, of her pain, and James placing a pillow on her face to end her suffering. James killed her. He suffocated her. He's always told himself it was a mercy killing, but it doesn't matter. He killed his wife. The guilt is overwhelming here.
Hey, there you are. Do you know where Mary is?
Laura catches up to James and asks if he knows where Mary is.
Come on. Talk to me.
Mary's gone.
James tells her that she's gone.
She's dead.
Liar. That's a lie.
No. It's the truth.
She died because she was sick.
James admits to her that he killed Mary. He admits out loud for the first time that he did it.
I killed her.
When Laura asks why he did it, all he can say is, "I'm sorry." He has no answers for her or himself.
Killer! Why'd you do it? I hate you! I want her back. Give her back to me. I knew it. You didn't care about her. I hate you, James! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! She was always waiting for you. Why? Why?
I'm sorry. Mary, you know, isn't here.
He sits alone in their special place as the true visage of the hotel comes evident. It's a burned out, decrepit place. Mary calls for James over the radio, begging him to come and get her. We're on the home straight now, only one more run into the belly of the beast.
I'm waiting for you. Please, come to me. Do you hate me? Please, why won't you come?
But where? Where are you?
You're so close now. Please, don't give up. Don't leave me out here, James! James!
The hotel is completely ruined. Every part is burnt out, collapsing, or plain destroyed. There's not that many monsters kicking about now, it's all about the descent back down to the basement. they'll not be thrown at the hole for James to jump down. The Venus bar is flooded, causing James to walk slowly through the waist-high water back to the basement. The tension ramps up here with a droning soundtrack punctuated with the sloshing of water, James's breathing, and the hints that there might be something out there. On our previous jaunt to the basement there was a door we couldn't access, which is glowing brightly now. Inside we find the walls on fire, and Angela stood on some stairs looking over two corpses that are suspended on the walls in frames.
Mama? Mama! I was looking for you. You're the only one left. Maybe then I can finally rest. Mama. What's wrong? Wait. You're not my mama. It's you.
I'm sorry, Angela. I think you were right. What we're looking for, it's not here. Not anymore.
Thank you for helping me earlier. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserve what happened.
No, Angela, that is not true.
Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me? Will you love me? Care for me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought. James. Give me back the knife.
No, I won't.
Saving it for yourself. Have it your way. It doesn't change anything.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
She doesn't recognise James at first, thinking he's her mother. It's not until she touches James she sees him properly, becoming visibly upset. She reluctantly thanks James for his help with Abstract Daddy, but then goes on to say that she thinks her mother was right, that she deserved what he did to her. James's assertion that it's not true doesn't faze her. She doesn't want pity. She doesn't feel that she's worth pitying. She sarcastically asks James if he thinks he can save her, or if he'll love her and heal her. She's heard it all before. She doesn't believe it, that a man can save her. She asks for the knife back, ostensibly to kill herself, but when James refuses, she starts to ascend the stairs to find another way to commit suicide. James says it's hot as hell in here, which surprises her. This is how Angela sees the world in Silent Hill. This is how everywhere has been for her. This is her torture, the fire, the flames, the burning of her own personal hell. There is no redemption in her own mind for what happened to her. She carries the scars of the abuse her entire family put her through. The horrors that her father and possibly brother wrought upon her body. The mental anguish and torture of a mother who sat by and not only allowed it to happen but blamed her for it. Angela is 19 years old and has nothing to live for anymore. She killed her father and brother, the two corpses on the walls of the staircase. She was abandoned by her mother. She has nothing, no one. She can't trust other people, especially men, and quite understandably so. Everyone in her life who was supposed to love her and keep her safe betrayed her, used her, or destroyed her. She ascends the flaming stairs to find another way to end her own suffering. She has nothing to live for, and Silent Hill has stripped the last of her will to survive away from her. Leaving Angela doesn't bring James back into the basement. Instead, we're at a metal stairwell that leads to the destroyed employee section of the hotel. In the administrator office, there's that familiar door, the one coded to Pyramid Head. There's nothing else for it. It's time for James to face his demons once and for all.
James!
Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone! I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore.
In the execution chamber, Maria is suspended upside down on a torture rack, flanked by a pair of pyramid heads. Off-screen we hear the wet sounds of Maria being stabbed, and James roars in anguish, dropping to his knees in the most pure emotion we've seen him display this whole game. This cutscene gives you much more than the original game did. In the original, when Maria is killed, James just falls to his knees, his mouth agape. There is emotion, but it's not the pain that's on display here. When James is on his knees talking to the pyramid heads about understanding why he needed them, the dialogue makes more sense. The emotion in the performance tells you so much more than the original ever could. In the original, he essentially confirms the pyramid head is his own guilt, his need to be punished, personified. James says to them, "I know the truth, now it's time to end this," as he builds his resolve and prepares to fight. In the remake, however, he says, "I don't need you anymore," which I think as a single line is a far more powerful statement. This is James accepting what he did. In the original, he's fighting to end the torture, but this doesn't mean he's come to terms with what he did. He's fighting back against the punishment. In the remake, this change in the line shows that James doesn't need to be punished anymore. He's owning what he did to Mary. He's come to terms with his guilt over her death at his hands. The fight with the twin pyramid heads is a long and drawn out one. It's not my favourite fight in the game by far, but it's tense and harrowing. The two will chase you down, throwing spears at you if you get too far away, leaping at you if you get too close, or just taking massive swings at you. Keep moving and you'll be fine. You have to fight though. This isn't like the previous times where you just have to avoid him, you need to fight. You won't kill either of them, but keep doing damage and eventually they'll stab their spears into the ground and end their own lives. After all, they're not needed anymore. In their hands they each hold an egg, a scarlet one and a rusted one. These unlock the 2 doors that will let you leave this room and head towards the ending. But which door you choose to walk through will affect your ending, so choose wisely. The next corridor has Mary's dying voice berating James. He tried to bring her flowers but she didn't want them. She's full of pain and self-pity as the disease ravaged her. She rejected him, pushed him away. This is the nasty side to Mary that James endured towards the end. She had put an idea in his head with the line, "It'd be easier if they just killed me." She tells him to leave and not come back. But if you wait a moment before leaving, you can hear her change her mind. She's scared. She doesn't want James to go. She doesn't want to die. She wants his comfort. But he's already gone, hasn't he? She's alone. You need to hear that last line of dialogue in this corridor for the good ending. So tempting as it is, don't hurry out of here. But this is it, the end of the game. James needs to climb this tower to find Mary, or Maria, whichever one of them has been drawing him through Silent Hill and his own personal psychological hell. When he reaches the top, Mary is stood with her back to him looking out over the town next to her hospital bed. They reunite in a deep, emotional moment.
Mary? I have missed you so much.
I've missed you too. We can finally be together. Forever.
But it's not her, is it?
No.
James realizes it too. Mary's dead after all, he killed her. This is Maria's final gambit to tempt James away from Mary's memory.
James. Honey. What's wrong?
I'm sorry. I know you tried,
James, please.
but she's gone. I know that now.
Stop it.
And I can't just keep pretending.
Shut up! What do you want? Do you even know anymore? I'm yours. I'm here for you. So what if I'm not her? I can give you what she never could.
She tells him that she can give him what Mary
than
couldn't
her.
give him, that she can be better than Mary.
What else do you want me to be? What else can I be?
But James doesn't want this. He pushes her away.
so
She cries,
Sorry.
and then she transforms.
Maria, I really am. But this has to stop. It's time to let it go.
No.
What?
I won't let you do this to me. I won't let you go. I can't!
This is the real Maria. This is the monster behind her. And if she can't have James, then no one can. Maria fights much like the second phase of Fleshlip. She's encased in a metal cage which she can move around the arena with. She'll cast a cloud of butterflies that will track James around the space and force you to split your attention. She also has a whip attack that can reach you from a great distance. Like all good boss fights, you need to manage the space and try not to get overwhelmed whilst having your attention split constantly. Maria attacks fast and she hits hard. The dodge button is essential here. After you do enough damage, she'll stop floating around, the cage splitting out arms and legs, and she'll destroy the floor, sending you to a new area that wasn't in the original boss fight. This is a tight, dark loop of an area, and Maria will chase James through it, screaming and howling as she scutters around the ceiling, dropping in front of you to hit you quickly. The shotgun is your best friend in this bit. The third phase changes the arena again, bringing you out of the nightmare loop and back to the tower. She's direct now, coming up close to hit you hard and teleporting around less. Hold your resolve and you can take her down once and for all. And when you do, the frame will land on the ground looking like a bed frame. Maria is trapped inside, quietly calling out for James. There's only one thing left for it. Pull your weapon, end the nightmare. The ending I received was in water. We see James sat in his car, back at the overlook from the beginning of the game with a haunted expression on his face.
I miss you so much.
He speaks out loud, telling Mary how much he misses her, and how much he tried but he can't go on without her.
I tried. I really did, but I can't.
His mind is made up. He can't be at peace with what he's done, and he can't live without her.
Just can't go on without you. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. I know this isn't what you would want.
He says that he knows this isn't what Mary wants, but finishes with, "But you're not here."
But I guess it doesn't matter anymore. You're not here.
He looks at the backseat of the car, where Mary's body actually is. Then he starts his car and drives into the lake. Mary reads her letter to James, the full letter. This is the one Laura took from the nurses, but lost. This was her goodbye to James, her last thoughts as she lay dying in the hospital. She talks about her anger, how she lashed out at those she loved and who loved her, including James. She tells him she understands if he hates her. She wouldn't blame him for it given how she treated him, but she also tells him she loves him, and she'll always love him. In her restless dreams, she thinks of that town, Silent Hill. She expands on this, saying she's trapped in a cocoon of her own pain and suffering. She was never in Silent Hill during the game. She used the memory of their beautiful time in the town to comfort her when her suffering was at its worst. The letter James has carried with him, the one that drew him to Silent Hill in the first place, isn't the full letter. In fact, it's not real. As you progress through the game, if you keep checking it, the text disappears. Then the paper itself, then the envelope. James came to Silent Hill right after killing Mary. She didn't die 3 years ago, she died the previous week, right before Laura's 8th birthday. James killed her, and in his traumatized delirium he drove to Silent Hill, a place where they were last happy before Mary's illness, with her body in the car with the intention of driving into the lake and killing himself, which is what he achieves in this ending. There are 2 other endings you can get on a first playthrough depending how you've played the game. In the Leave ending, James talks to Mary as she lies dying in her hospital bed. He apologises, but she tells him not to worry, She wanted the pain to end. But James admits he did it because he was selfish. He hated what Mary had become and he wanted her out of the way so he could have his life back without caring for a dying wife. She gives him the full letter, the thing he's been looking for in Silent Hill, her last dying thoughts. James finds Laura drawing on the wall where he first met her earlier in the game and he gives her the letter to read. Mary reads the letter as we get views of all the places in Silent Hill that James has visited on his journey in a reversed order. From the hotel all the way back to the graveyard. And James and Laura leave together. Although knowing Mary is in the backseat of his car, I'm sure he'll have some explaining to do. The other ending you can get on a first playthrough is Maria. Before the final boss fight, he sees a healthy Mary sitting in the bed in the boss arena. She accuses James of killing her, forcing James to admit what he did, but he's lying. He says he couldn't bear to see her suffer. Mary doesn't believe him. She knows how much he hated her in the end, but he keeps lying to her, making excuses for what he did, gaslighting the memory of his dead wife. She says she was a burden, that James wanted a long and happy life she couldn't give him. Then she asks if Maria can give that to him. She gets angry and transforms into the boss monster we saw before. After the fight, James finds Maria sleeping on the stage in Heaven's Night, an iconic shot remade from the original game. He takes her hand and they start to leave before Maria hands him Mary's letter, but he doesn't read it, he just puts it back in his jacket and says let's go. Back at the Overlook, as James walks to the car, Maria starts to cough, only for James to tell her to do something about that cough. The cycle begins again. Maria is getting sick like Mary did. James's selfishness means he's bound to repeat history and he'll be back here soon enough. So now that you know pretty much everything that happens in the game, there is one critical question we need to answer. Did we actually need a remake of Silent Hill 2? It's not the easiest question in the world to answer, if I'm honest. My original thinking when this game was announced is that instead of Silent Hill 2, I'd have preferred a remake of the first game, of Harry Mason's journey through the Twisted Town. I still firmly believe that Silent Hill 2 is a perfect game, so instead remaking the original PS1 game would have been a more worthwhile investment for both Konami and the fanbase. But then as part of the research for this video, I watched through a playthrough of the original Silent Hill 2 by YouTuber Casticlism, and a few things came into sharp relief for me. Notably, the game hasn't aged as well as I remembered. And I'm not talking specifically about the graphics or the technical aspect of it, I'm fully aware it's a 24-year-old game. In fact, the original game has some fantastic technical tricks that still hold up today. The most obvious one is the way that it uses a custom, realistic lighting engine to allow James's torch to interact properly with the world. No, what I mean is the actual design of the game is very much a product of its time. The semi-static camera makes combat trickier than it needs to be. James isn't particularly responsive to control, and as I alluded to earlier in the video, the voiceover direction is shonky at best. Without taking anything away from Silent Hill 2, I think a lot of people my age who played it back in 2001 view the game with rose-tinted glasses in a way I don't think we do with other games from that time. The control system is a strange combination of tank controls and relative position. Combat is loose and shaky, aiming is more difficult than it could be. Camera controls are barely existent. The only real control you have over it is to swing it right over James's head to reset it to a relative position that often doesn't help your view. While I've just praised how the lighting in the game works, it's also ridiculously dark, to the point where it can make exploration and puzzle solving unnecessarily difficult. The original Silent Hill 2 is an iconic game, but going back to see how it plays and remember my experience with it recontextualizes it for me. I don't know if I'd call it a perfect game anymore, but rather an important game that influenced so many others as time went on. Then there's the issue of how you actually play the original game in 2025. Silent Hill 2 has had one re-release since the early 2000s, which was the HD collection that dropped on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. This is quite famously a terrible version of the game. Konami had lost, or disposed of, the original source code for the game, so Hijinks Studio had to redevelop the game from incomplete files that Konami gave to them and from decompiling the original game discs. As a result, hundreds of bugs, glitches and game-breaking issues had to be resolved by the team. Added to that, a tight development schedule with a tight budget and Konami not wanting to invest the money into the project that it needed. Hijinks also recast and re-recorded a lot of the dialogue. Troy Baker was brought in to revoice James after the original actor refused to allow Konami to reuse his performance. Now, Troy Baker is a great actor, but a lot of criticism was levied at the port because of this. One of the biggest issues with the HD collection though is the lack of fog. The fog of Silent Hill is near enough a character of its own, and it's an iconic part of the series' visual presentation. The fog is almost entirely missing from the game. Whether it's because of a glitch or a lack of development time, I don't know, but the game just looks and feels wrong. Exploring Silent Hill in the sunshine doesn't quite hit the same, you know? So what about playing the original version? Well, it was released on PS2 and then eventually Xbox and PC. If you have original hardware, then sure, pick up an old disc, it's easy enough. Though as time has gone on, the prices of the original discs have gotten more and more expensive on the second-hand market, and they are not getting any cheaper. Then there's emulation. But emulating a PS2 or an Xbox involves dumping the system BIOS into the emulator, which is broadly illegal, as is having the ROM without the original disc, so you're kinda stuck there as well. Of course, then there's the PC version. Released in 2002 for Windows XP, there's a lot of hoops to jump through to get it going on modern machines. There's a community-made Enhanced Edition mod that generally improves the game's look and feel, while also helping it run on modern versions of Windows, but again, if you want to play it legally, you're going to need an original disc, which have got even more expensive than the PS2 version at this point. To sum that all up, the original game is jankier than most people would like to admit. Original game discs are getting rarer and more expensive by the day, and getting it running on PC is awkward and not guaranteed to run perfect. Konami are traditionally poor at game preservation and archiving, so it's not surprising that we don't have a GOG version of the game or the ability to buy it as a PS2 classic on the PlayStation Store. Maybe a remake is the best thing then. The new Silent Hill that's in the works, Silent Hill F, is still a while off. We've been treated to some interesting trailers and some tantalising hints of what that game will involve. It looks absolutely terrifying and for the first time takes the Silent Hill franchise away from the titular town to Japan in the 1960s. Very cynically, you could argue that the Silent Hill 2 remake is part of a grander, expensive marketing strategy to reintroduce the franchise to gamers old and young before the series returns proper with new original experiences. But if that was the case, I'd argue the remake wouldn't be as good as it is. Bloober Team have skirted around Silent Hill as an influence for most of the time they've been making games. The medium was marketed heavily on its influence from the Misty Town in Maine, and with this remake you can see their reverence for the franchise. From the rain-slick streets to the rusty grace of the Otherworld, the care and attention Bloober have lavished on Silent Hill 2 is to be commended. They've done something with this project which I think is core for a remake. They haven't made a game that is one-to-one, exactly the same as the original. They've made a game that feels like how we remember the game, whilst updating it to meet modern expectations of game design. They've done for Silent Hill 2 what Capcom did for the Resident Evil remakes, especially 2 and 4. While the original game will always have a special place in my heart, I genuinely believe this remake is the definitive version of the game. 99% of what Bloober Team have done to update the game has worked perfectly in my opinion. It's made me excited to see what their next game, Chronos The New Dawn, is like, and it's renewed my passion for the Silent Hill franchise, something I never thought I'd see return. It was always in my restless dreams, that town, Silent Hill. If you've made it to this point, you've hit the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and taking in my analysis and ramblings about this wonderful game. I really do appreciate every viewer, so give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, you can follow me over on Blue Sky at gadgetthedm.bsky.social, or follow my free Patreon over at patreon.com/gadgetongaming. And if you're making a project about Silent Hill and want to use any of my footage, head over to my second channel, Gadget on Gaming Footage, and you'll find my entire 14-hour playthrough of the game free to download and use as you please. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate you hitting the like button, sharing it about, or if you're feeling generous, hitting that big old red subscribe button. I'm already working on my next video, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. For now though, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.